What is up, Need for Speed Racers? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut. I'm here today with the Plymouth Hemi Cuda in A+ and S. Not for racing, but for points scoring. This is a drift machine. It is not a race car. As much as I wanted it to be, there was no build that I could get behind that I was just like, hey, this is actually somewhat competent competitive. You put a lot of horsepower in it, but it just underwhelmed a lot. So I was deciding maybe I'll try it for drifting. It's mid-tier at drift. It'll get sideways. You can score some good points in it. I'll show you that in the gameplay footage. So I decided to go full drifty boy with it, and let's go score some points. So I'll show you the build, show you some of the styling portions, and let's get going. Now, for all things with the style, there's a lot going on with this car. There's a lot of different ways you can really tune it up. I would say with the body kits, there's like 3 separate ones you can kind of go stock, then Speed Hunters kits, a couple of those, changes the bumper, rear taillights and stuff. And then there's a wide body kit for it as well. So 3 different sets of taillights, 3 different kind of wide body kits, hoods, mirrors, you name it. So there's a lot you can do with it. Stylize it any way you want. I was pretty happy with my look. I think that looked really sweet. And then I got this livery going. Siwoo did this for me so I could match our team. And then I put the big supporters on there. So I got Bulky Boys, Hakasuka UAE, my man Sad Rose, and my man Tire Iron on there. These guys have been donating to me in a lot of different capacities, whether it be gifted subs, rather it be supporting me on Patreon, rather it be just sending it directly to my account, rather it be at Sad Rose and Hakasuka doing that, PayPal. Like, these guys are out here financially making sure that I have got a little extra help, and it's allowing me to spend more time doing this, so that way you guys all get great content. So big shout out to them. I'm gonna try to continue doing stuff like this where I'm putting my guys on the wraps, so no matter what capacity we're out here, it's a we, it's not a me. And so we got a sponsored car, and it's sponsored by all my guys, so thank you to them. Anyway, let's dig into the build. Let me show you what I've got for A+ class, and then we'll roll right into S as well. I was able to do both builds on the same chassis. I just had to make a couple different changes, so we'll just keep it all in one take. For the performance, for the A+ build, you are using the stock engine. That is the 7.2 liter V8, 390 brake horsepower when we start, and we double it from there. For the parts, you're going to do Sport Bronze Induction, Silver Pro ECU, Super Gold Fuel System, and Elite Platinum Exhaust. You're going to pair that up with the Elite Platinum Screw Supercharger. That way you get all the torque immediately when you pull that trigger, and you're going to run Sport Bronze Nitrous. Pair that with Elite Platinum Regular Suspension, not the road, but the regular. Iron Basic Brakes, because who needs to stop? And then Elite Platinum Drift Tires. That's going to give us the most slider for the drifting side of things. It lets you get the car sideways. Iron Basic Clutch, you really don't need it. Run manual when you're drifting, you guys. Lock the car in 2nd or 3rd gear and just send it. You don't need a whole lot more than that. It's pretty easy stuff. For the transmission, I am running the 5-speed Sport Bronze gearbox. The reason I did that with the 5-speed is so you had a little bit more gear selection to hopefully be able to get the car sideways or have the RPM spinning, the tires up where you need them to be. You might try it with the 4-speed. The 4-speed obviously adds more PI points, so I didn't go with that. And the 3-speed basically meant you were running around in like 1st gear, and that didn't feel too good to me. I liked being able to get through the gears a little bit, so I'm thinking the 5-speed's where it's at. Elite Platinum Differential, and then auxiliary is Nitrous Drift plus whatever you want. I run grip because I always put that as a standard, but when you're running drift events, it really doesn't matter. That second one's kind of a throwaway. You get more nitrous and boost than you usually need anyway, so as long as you've got the drift one on there, you're good to go. Now for the handling, slide the slider 100% to the right. Anti-Beyonce, we are all drift today, boys. And when you're scoring points, you want that. Steering sensitivity, I run 2 clicks high. Go with what you feel. Downforce, all the way high. You need to be all the way high, otherwise the car doesn't fit in the class. And this is a weird one. It will go from 269 all the way to 285 just by moving that handling slider. It is a very downforce sensitive car. And I learned all that from the racing side of things. Taking the downforce out of it for when I was trying to build a good race build was nice, but then you lose 20 points of PI value, so you had to take power out and stuff. This car's a weird one. I'm not happy with it. I wanted it to be a good race car, and it's just not. So we out here sliding it. Traction control off for sure, and drift entry, do gas or brake tap or whatever you're comfortable with when you're doing those drift events. That is going to be the A269. Nice build. 192 for your top speed. You should never ever hit that in a drift event. 941 for the horsepower, but your key here is 1062 for your torque. Lots of torque coming out of that motor. It's really cool. It slides pretty good. You'll see that in the gameplay footage. Now, for the S build, you are going to run the last engine. You can get away. You can run this build, put all the parts in it, and get it close, and then you can add a clutch and some nitrous and stuff, and you can get it pretty close to S329. But it doesn't max out with just parts. I went over here and I went with the 4.6 liter V8 hybrid. The reason I picked the hybrid for the S build is because it is the highest revving motor out of the available engines. Highest revving mean you get the highest numbers in the RPM, so you get to the top and there's a lot there, giving you a lot more needle to play with, and you can kind of ease off the throttle and kind of set that line and get in there. It might not be the overall best for the car. I didn't try all the engines out for drifting because honestly, once I settled into it, I was pretty happy with it. But I wanted something with really high revving engine, and the 7.2 liter doesn't do that. But for A+, you want all the torque. So this is like all the torque plus high revving RPMs, so that way you can kind of set it, forget it, get it sideways, and have it kick out on you. Now the parts for S-Class, it is Elite Platinum, all of them for the first 6. So it's Elite Platinum Induction, Elite Platinum ECU, fuel system, and exhaust. All of that comes factory. You couldn't change that if you wanted to. For your forced induction, I'm going to go with the screw because I think it's the best, and it seems to be handling correctly for me. For the nitrous, you get to run an Elite Platinum bottle at S-Class, so when you're drifting it sideways, you've got a lot of extra NOS to play with to hopefully get your score up a little bit. Elite Platinum regular suspension, as we do, because I did have a couple extra points, but I wanted to keep it there. If you do the roads, it actually takes it to 330, and there's really no nice way to make it fit without taking some power out. So because you really don't need crazy suspension, run the regular suspension, run iron basic brakes, run Elite Platinum drift tires, so that way you can get that full slider out of it, get it sideways, and then you're going to take your clutch. You're going to go with a Sport Bronze clutch, and you are going to run, Sport Bronze clutch, and also, I forgot. Sport Bronze clutch, and then we're going to go tweak the downforce. Same transmission. It is the 5-speed transmission. Forgot the build there for a second. And then you're going to run the Elite Platinum diff, giving you that full slider so you can get 100% drift out of it. Auxiliary, make sure you run nitrous drift. The other one's a throwaway. It doesn't matter. For the handling slider, take your slider 100% to the right, full downforce for the S-Class, or full drift for the S-Class, excuse me. Steering sensitivity 2 clicks high, that hasn't changed. And then your downforce, back it off a couple. You're going to go right there, one to the left of center. You can put a different clutch in it if you want. You don't really need it because you stay in the same gear. You can put different brakes in it if you want, but you don't really need them because you're drifting. But I figured because we had some extra points to play with and we had the car already maxed out on the engine, take some of that downforce out, give it the best opportunity to get sideways on you. So that's where we're at. Downforce, one to the left of center. That is 329 S-Class, and I think that's pretty sturdy for it. Traction control off. Drift entry, gas, or brake tap. That's going to give you the S-Class Plymouth Barracuda. 199 top speed. Please don't ever hit that in a drift event. 1199 for your horsepower and 1214 for your torque. The torque is increased just a little bit, but we've got a lot more horsepower to kick it loose. You're still going to find yourself in about second or third gear. This transmission mounted to that engine, the gear ratio has changed, and so you really don't need fourth gear as much as you do in the A-Class build. And you'll see the differences there in the gameplay footage. Other than that, that's it, you guys. Get plugged into the Cornnut crew. Come and join the Discord and follow, like, subscribe, do all the things so you know what's going on with my channel. I am hosting the biggest Need for Speed Unbound tournament that has ever been done and probably will ever be done. I'm going to have the most teams. I don't even know how many teams we have yet, but it's going to be a lot. I have the biggest prize pool. Right now, I'm working on it with a $500 prize pool. I've already got that set. As more donations come in, as more supporters show up for the crew, that is probably going to go up. And during the tournament, I'm going to run it for 3 weeks is the plan, unless we just get a total huge amount of teams pop up. So we might do 4 weeks. But during the Friday, Saturday, Sunday events that I'm going to be running these teams, I'm going to be streaming. And during those streams, it's going to be a charity event. We're going to be raising money for the Children's Home, which is a local orphanage where I am at. And at the end of the tournament, the collection of whatever we've raised, I'm going to be going over there and cutting them a check, and I'll do a video on that. And I'm going to that helps me show you guys that I am accountable for this. And so if people do donate to the stream during that, and we are raising money for this charity, I'm not pocketing this. I'm going to make sure that these guys get it, and it's for the kids. So get plugged in and get on a team. Even if you don't think you're good, or even if you and your buddies don't think you're going to win, that doesn't matter. Come and support the tournament. Come and get plugged in. We're going to have some upsets. It's single elimination, so it only takes one crash for everything to go sideways. So get involved. Come and hang out with us. Be a part of that. Be looking out for this tournament that's going to happen in August. I'm going to be saying this in every video that I do between now and then because I want you guys to tune in for the streams. I want you guys to come and participate in the tournament with us. And I want it to be the best thing that I can create, and so I'm going to promote the crap out of it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the gameplay footage, and if you like what I'm doing here, you can hit me up on Patreon. You can send a donation directly to PayPal. That actually goes in my pocket. And if you want to support me through the channel, you can do that too. A lot of different ways to support me, but I'm taking that support and I'm doing as good of things with it as I can, so I'm always thankful. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Alright, I got the boys with me. Scorps and Splash the Orca are here to help with all Volume 3 things. We had a little trouble. Not we, me. Had a little trouble getting a playlist without somebody. And so these guys volunteered to help me out. I've run this car a handful of times already today, doing some testing and practicing in A+. It does okay. I've determined that you want to use brake and handbrake to get it sideways, so you get out of the throttle and then use brake and handbrake to kick it out. Momentum is the key with this car. It's a big old heavy beast, but you'll see that once it settles into that drift, it'll pick a nice line and does pretty okay with it. Third gear is what I've had the most success with, actually sliding the car. Sometimes if you get a lot of momentum, you can do fourth, but as soon as you slow down, you want to be back down into third so you can actually have a little control over your slide. It's definitely a lot more competitive as a drift car than it is as a race car. Hitting those checkpoints at speed is really very good, so we can at least get 150 points from them. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. My biggest issue with this car is as you slow down, it loses a certain amount of speed, and when that happens, you've kind of got to just pull out of it and use your NOS and your power to do it. What I'm chasing right now is that ×5 drift. Once I get that 5 times marker right there, I'll straighten out, bank it, use our acceleration there, and then start working on a new combo. You do not want to bank your points until you're at ×5, so that way you get the maximum value out of that. If you bank it ×4 and you've got 10,000, you get 40,000. You bank it ×5, you get 50. So the key is to accumulate points, get to a 5 times multiplier, bank immediately, and then restart your combo score. And do all that while chaining enough momentum to get decent checkpoint points out of each of the gates. So we got our ×5, got our third combo there. I'll straighten out, bank it here. Nitrous, start working on the combo again. That's kind of an example of the car just getting a little sideways. That was kind of a poor drift on my part, but trying to get to that second combo if possible. I don't think we're going to get it. Nope. 87,432 is pretty okay. It's nothing crazy on that track, but it gives you an idea of kind of what the Cuda can do. Obviously, you could optimize that run a little more, get a little more points out of it. But it does slide. If you're decent at drifting, this is what I would consider like an off-meta car that you can score a lot of points in and at least be driving the Cuda. Whereas for racing, you get whacked. So it's It's a lot better here. Now this track's got a lot more square corners. I feel like this car does very well on the square corners. It's get speed, initiate drift, finish corner, get speed, initiate drift. That's a little easier to do with this vehicle than some of the others I've driven. So we'll try to get a good start here. Click in a second. There, it's getting sideways now. Yeah, it is. Being able to initiate that drift, getting gassed and handbrake, or excuse me, brake and regular handbrake, getting out of the throttle is definitely helping this car get very sideways, and that's feeling really good. Kind of just trying to snake drift there. The reason I do that is to keep the combo going. I don't want to accidentally bank my points before I get to ×5. There's ×5. We'll bank. We got a lot more speed, so we're going to try to do this one in 4th gear, see if we can carry a longer drift. Not really. Downshift into 3rd. I have found that if you are drifting, manual transmission's really good for that. Not because it's an advantage for speed, but being able to just lock it in a gear and not have the car shift on you mid-turn is definitely very, very helpful. Alright, and then we'll bank 78,297, not bad. Squeaked in ahead of Scorps there, so pretty solid for us. This next one is more of a, well, it's basically Apex Predator with drift cars. And so we get to do kind of the mountain route and hold your line a little bit better. This is a good playlist for A+ to really do some testing to find out where a car fits, because you might want to change your drift car depending on where it thrives, whether it be 90-degree turns or like snake tracks like what this one is. So it'll kind of give you an idea. Alright, we're gonna start here. Victor, we're shooting gameplay footage really quick, buddy, so once I'm done with this, and I wouldn't tell you the best time in Copium anyway. We don't tell people what the best times in Copium are. He didn't like that, he laughed. Oh, I'm gonna clip. I didn't clip. I can't believe we didn't die there. That was crazy. Alright, we accelerate through here. Using that nitrous. Oh, we were carrying so much speed we were going to clip that wall and die. And I didn't want to lose my combo. I'm having some troubles. I know that I could do better in this car than I am right now. I'm just not. So we're going to try not to lose this one here. Let's see if we can carry one long drift around this corner. Oh, we're doing pretty good. I'm proud of us. Coming up on our ×5 multiplier, so we're going to bank it right here. I tried to bank it right there, but apparently just turning to the left right there was considered a drift. Really cool game there. And I don't want to miss the points. We'll bank on this straightaway right here. Oh yeah, that settled into that drift really nicely. I do like that. But see right there, we kind of lost momentum, and I had to use our nitrous to get out of it. Let's see if we can get another one right here. Nice, nice, that worked out. Okay, we're gonna bank. We're at our ×5 right here. All right, 103,632, not bad. Barracuda is okay. I say it's mid-tier in the drift, but if you want to drive the Cuda, you want to drift it. A+, it does okay. We'll see how it does at S. All right, got Mean Cat and Sayer Guitari with me. Way later in the day, work stuff happened as we do out here, but we're gonna get it going. S-Class is a little better for this car. Different engine. Don't go crazy on this bit of info, but I think that an engine with a higher RPM that still has the torque and stuff to match is better because you get more revs out of it. And those higher revs make it a little easier. We did get a rando with us, this Inva Rector. So, super good drift there. I was looking at the dude's name instead of my line. We're bouncing off in second. I think I'm going to run this in third. Yeah, maybe second. But you'll see that I'm using the same technique for this car. It seems to be the way to go, which is the handbrake and regular brake in. Set your line, and then I'm not going full throttle. I'm actually kind of modulating that throttle and just, you know, easing up on that trigger as needed to give the car as much opportunity to kind of set the line as needed. It wants to kind of get into that micro drift, and I have to force it into the full drift to make it go. It's unique. This car is not a good race car, and I'm not saying it's a bad drift car, but I don't think it's a meta drift car, just from my experience with the other drift cars out there. Like right there, I turned in, and it didn't kick out like I wanted it to, so I had to reset my line and then force it again, which is kind of not annoying, but not what I wanted, right? Like, the car is not tipping in and just staying kicked out sideways like I wish it would. So we're trying to not waste any time. We want to make sure that we're hitting those checkpoints. We're going to hit that ×5 right there, straighten back out, bank it so we can start our combo multiplier again. I know I'm redundant on that, but it's important to kind of show everybody that. Now, track's a little short. 55K is not bad. Obviously, we won the playlist with it, but I think in a meta car, 60, 70, 80K is very possible with that. But really, you know, that's why I bring you guys this gameplay footage, so you can get an idea of what you're getting into with the car. I think that Viper's a good car to drift. RX-7 is middle of the road, as we know. So it's just about finding a car you're comfortable with and then just making it work. I think with the drift events, technique is a whole lot more important than what car you're in. Obviously, the car will take you that last little bit, but it's kind of like in the race side of things. Take a very good racer, put them in a mid-tier car, and they're going to make it seem very fast. Take somebody that doesn't have the skill to match and put them in the best car, and they're still going to have skill issues. So really, guys, bring technique to the table when you're running these drift events. Make sure that you're banking your combos, getting as much out of the car as you can, and then just make it go. So we know that this line's a little tighter one, so I'm going to try to do a wide sweeping drift there. This car, with its weight, has a tendency to want to lose its momentum and speed, and I really like it to carry that wide drift. We are consistently getting points while we snake back and forth there, and we're keeping our combo going, which is one of the main things you want to make sure you guys are doing. Not just the multiplier, but keeping that combo up. The combo is done based on a threshold of points, and so once you get to about 3,500, 3,700, that's when that combo resets. On this track, you want to make sure you don't go too far to the left on that bridge, because you will get killed, and when that happens, you will lose your combo or your times whatever multiplier and your combo. So There's a handful of moving parts to be good at the drifting. I don't claim to be a good drifter, but I'm good enough at it that I think I can bring you guys some educated info to help you guys know what you're getting into. The whole reason that I don't have a race build for this car is because it's really not capable of being a good race car, which it hurts me because I think it is a really special car. I like the Cuda. There's an old TV show, Nash Briggs, not old, but it's older now. It's definitely not aired anymore. And he used to drive a Cuda, and it was yellow, and I really, really liked it. And so I really wanted this car to be something sweet. And we drove it as a meme car in S Plus for a while, and that really was not the way to go. So coming through this garage section again, using gas and brake to kind of set our line there. Didn't drift nearly as much as I would have liked to. Oh, we do get our ×5 bonus, and we did get our multiplier there, so I'll bank that like we just did then, and then go, oh, I just missed it. So now we're going to lose our ×5 and reset, which that really hurts our overall score. And that was the situation where I expected the car to kind of just track straight but get sideways, and instead it decided to grip and rip, which is really kind of a frustrating thing. So that's why I say this might not be the best drift car. I think it's a middle of the road drift car. Not bad. It gets it done, but it doesn't produce the score that I think some of the other really good cars could. Now, me and Cat's being real generous to us, hanging out, not finishing because we don't want to tick through, but we're still able to do 90K. I've hit over 110 on this track a handful of times, so we definitely left a lot of score on the table with us missing that checkpoint, but it's all part of it. But the biggest thing, guys, is when you're doing these, make sure you're maximizing your multiplier and then getting that combo up, and when you get to ×5, bank, get your 3 yellow circles for the combo, bank, and just keep banking and making sure you're keeping that ×5 consistent. Helps you get that maximum points value. There's a lot of people in the game that are far better drifters than myself, but based on my copium abilities with the DeLorean, I definitely think that I'm in the upper tier of the drifters right now. Not the best, but definitely no slouch when it comes to it. And this might not be the right engine for it. I tried some of the other engines, and they all max out at lower tiers than this one does. At least you can get a full build on it. And I liked this one because I thought that the revs being higher for this motor in S-Class was a little better on it. So that was just my personal takeaway when I was doing my testing with it. But I'm not nearly as good of a drift builder as I am a race builder, that's for sure. And with Nil not really doing the drift events too much, it's it's kind of a solo act when it comes to that. See, now if everything was working correctly, we'd be carrying more speed through here and doing a wider line. Like right now we're cutting a tight line, which isn't bad, but if we could do a wider line, we could carry more speed, thus carry more points. Wider line, more track, more drift, all the moving parts, right? So I kind of set that one up early to try to carry that drift through there, and that seemed to work pretty well. I do like this particular drift track because we do that loop there, but us getting kind of caked up on the banking there kind of ruined our ability to get good points. We'll cut back to the right, cut back to the left. Okay, we're going to try to carry a ton of speed into this. Downshift in a second, see if we can carry a nice long drift through here. I'm actually going to bank before I start the next one. We're doing more of an oval here instead of a really wide drift, but we're able to carry a lot more consistent line through there. So definitely second gear was better for us there. At least it felt like it, and I think we scored a lot more points from it. So what I find funny is that guy that's Inva Rector or whatever his name is, probably feeling okay with his 10,000 points, and then when we end up banking all this, now I ignored what was going on. I wasn't paying attention to my race. I was just driving, and I should have banked way sooner than that. I should have banked at like 3,500 points instead of the 7 grand that I did. So I left about 1,500 points on the table by not banking early enough. $107, $315. We barely beat our friend Savagratari, so that was fun. Overall, Barracuda's not bad in S. I would say that it's a mid-tier drift car, but at least it's a drift car and has some kind of usage because it's definitely not a race car. But other than that, guys, that's the gameplay footage. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out and sticking with me through all this. I love that. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.